very good, beautiful, well done. Great, performed this piece. So what I'd like to do is just ask some questions about what you've done, what you've decided. You've worked on it very hard, you've thought about it a lot. One of the questions I want you to think about or to tell me about is, what do you think he means when he says that the piece is in 4 rather than in 2? Because the way you're taking the Allegro vivace very literally and playing it pretty fast. And what I'm feeling all the time is that it's in 2, and he wrote it in 4. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that it'll change the tempo, but I think it will a little bit. Because if you feel 4 beats in a bar, it's a very different thing. If you just take the end where you played the double bar, play the double bar, before the double bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars. 6 bars. So it's a march, right? That passage is an absolute traditional Schubertian march. So just try that. Now let's do it in 4. So think of it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just try that. 1, 2, 3. And that's a very different feeling, isn't it? Totally different feeling. And I think what you're doing is thinking, oh, this piece is fast, and forgetting that it's in 4. As a result, you skimp over a lot of beauties in the piece because it's simply too fast. So, if that's correct, and I'm not saying, I never talked to Schubert about it, but he wrote 4. Why did he write 4? Because he was perfectly capable of writing 2. A 2 in Schubert is the C major symphony. That's a fast movement. But should we just try it? Where you really, if you imagine there was a conductor, the conductor would be conducting in 4. Another piece that everybody plays too fast because they're not thinking is this piece. Could you just jump up? Is this? Everybody plays that in 2, but it's written in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and in that case, we actually have a metronome mark, 84. And I wouldn't be surprised if that would be a very good metronome mark, because Schubert loved Beethoven. And he knew Beethoven. And so should we just try to take the last movement of the... It doesn't have to be exact or anything, but just that kind of tempo. Should we just try? So this is here. So bum 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 bim bum bum. That's the tempo of the last movement of the Beethoven 5th Symphony. Should we try the same thing from the beginning? 1, 2, 3. Once again, it's da do di pa 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 pim, pa 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 pim. 2, 3, 4. It's something to think about, to give more space. And before that great climax, I would take time. The other thing is that third bar a heavy bar or a light bar? Some of you are doing it up bow and some of you are doing it down bow, which means you haven't decided. So, which is it? Is it da da dee da ti da da or dee da dee? Which is it? Is that bar an upbeat to that one, or is this the downbeat and that's?
I feel like the third bar is the downbeat.
What's that?
I feel like the third bar is the downbeat.
Right. This is the downbeat. Your editor or somebody has written an up bow. I wouldn't do that. Then this is a surprise, a shock. Would you just try that? And do it once again from the beginning. Make that first chord ring out like a huge chord, as if you had a whole orchestra. Schubert wanted an orchestra, but he could only get 5 people. 1, 2, 3, and I would take a little time before you move. Like that. Yes, now we're talking. All right, everybody, huge orchestra. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this is a complete surprise, and particularly since it's in pianissimo, a tiny accent, but only in pianissimo. And I would put the grace note on the beat. It's more shocking, even more grand. 26 more players. 1, 2, 3, and it's too short. She does it longer. Whoa. 3, 2, 3, 4. Surprise. Yeah, you got a lot faster in your performance there than you had been before. I wonder why. That's an allegro 4/4. So I would keep the same tempo. That was great. That was good. Can you make the little accents more of a surprise? Because you don't make a crescendo before them and you don't do it too quick and you do the grace note on the beat. Let's try it one more time. And tom, ba ba bee ba ba beam. I would be free with that. 2, 3, and right. Oh, one other thing, Isabel, always be present. He put a double bass there for the reason, because all the other music he wrote was with cello, and sometimes 2 cellos, but when he really wanted something important, double bass. So don't ever be an accompaniment, always be the root of the whole thing. It gives it a grandeur and joy. This is incredibly joyful music. Not rush, not frantic, joyful. Try 1, 2, 3, and ring. Yes. Oh, you know, that gesture is so different from the one you did at the beginning. It's so inviting, so confident, telling the world that everything is going to be all right. Incidentally, it's a very important message. Everything is going to be fine. Schubert says so. Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. Shh. Surprise. Do you know why you're so important? Because you're the viola and the second violin. Because he just had a quintet, so you're playing there. You're a true solo violin. It's a wonderful thing, and not hidden in the middle of the texture. Right? This is marked now. It's a different feel. Very generous and joyful. And should we try one more part? And just imagine this is the last time you ever play this. And you'll all walk out, and then a bus will pass by and just wipe you all out, and that'll be the end. And we'll send a letter to your parents and say, we really are sorry, but you should have heard the last time they did it. It was so special. Let's try that. Make it so special. All right, you ready? And the very thought should make your eyes shine, and then theirs will too. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3, 2, yes. Why do you do that? You play it very beautifully. And say, why do you do it on 2 strings? Every singer would do a glissando there. Do it on the A string. Do it alone. Good. And everybody else shut up. This is the cello's moment. And you fill this room with cello sound, the best sound in the world. And you don't look enormously happy, all of you. This is one of those pieces. Many of Schubert's pieces are both happy and sad at the same time. This isn't. This is pure happiness. And you play it beautifully. And we're hearing more of the music now because it's a little more spacious. I think he knew what he was doing. Just 2 before the cello tune comes, you'll find the bar. Which is the bar of the...
Right before the cello comes?
Yeah, but right before the cello comes.
63? 63.
Yeah, good. And Miruna, look as though you're playing the concerto. do you know it from memory?
Yeah.
You know, good, because you know if you go up to somebody, you finally found the person in your life, and you go up and you say, "I love you," they won't believe you. So this is a moment. Look up, look at the audience and say, "Do you realize how beautiful this tune is?" And look up and have your whole body speak to them as you do. It's wonderful. Same place. And don't rush this passage. It's such a great moment. It never wants to end. 1, 2, 3, and... Ooh, isn't that beautiful? That harmony change is so amazing. And it teaches that moment of time before it, everybody's eyes go, all of your 5 eyebrows go up. Like that. I always say, if you don't put your eyebrows up, the audience won't know what's happening. But if you go, they'll say, "Oh, something's happening." This is beautiful. It's really great. A little applause, I think, because what we're hearing, we're hearing your hearts, we're hearing your singing, we're hearing your beautiful playing. Before it just felt rushed. And I think that you didn't have to do this tempo, but at this tempo, you know that it'll sing. If I had my way, I would hear that cello tune one more time. Should we try one more time and see if you can make it even more, because Schubert, if you have a great sound and you play really well in tune and perfectly together, that's it. Right. So let's hear the most beautiful sound you can make. Same place. 1, 2. Can I suggest you keep this very, very soft, so her sound comes right out, and even yours is an accompaniment. Well, same thing. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Beautiful. Bravo. Bravo. Very good. Let me look at the time. I just want to take just the opening of the Trout movement, because that's what it's all about. All your instruments sound better now. So he might have been right when he wrote 4/4. No, he was definitely right. It's so clear to me that this is a 4/4 movement, not a 2 movement. So a little thing like that can change everything. Let's hear the Trout, this beautiful, beautiful theme. And then we'll hear Ravel. Let's just talk about this beautiful what you're doing. And it's, of course, one of the most beautiful themes ever created. And it's so incredibly special. And the dynamic is pianissimo the first time. I would do it softer and avoid any sense that it's in 4. This is in 2. And it's clearly in 2. And what andante means is an unknown to mankind. But it's a light gesture. It's like the adagietto of the Mahler Fifth Symphony. We don't know what he meant by adagietto, but he certainly didn't mean adagio. And in this case, I think it's a very light 2. And I'm not going to put a specific number, that's up to you. But if you do it very soft, the second D must be lighter than the first one, even though it's longer. Because it's very tempting when you're playing music to lead to the long note. If you see a long note, all musicians lead to it. Because it's long. But this is even the second one, the long note is not the accented one. So if you try it again, really pianissimo, and imagine. And of course, you're only going to be able to do it as fast as the variations will allow. But if you think of it as 2 bars together, I think it'll get that very beautiful simplicity that Schubert had in mind for the song. Should we try it? 1, 2, 1. Yeah. Could you do the pianissimo even more invitingly? Come and listen to me. Come and listen. Beautiful, beautiful. Can I recommend you also think of this as a heavy bar and this as a light one? So it becomes not each one heavy, but let this be less. It could be even a little freer. Should we try that? 1, 2. with an accompaniment this delicate, you can play very lightly. It's not pianissimo, but still, it's not healthy mezzo forte. I would be delicate. That felt lovely as an opening. Very free, very tender, very natural, folk-like, but with a sophistication that doesn't exist in folk music, but exists in Schubert. He was the greatest songwriter who ever wrote music. I mean, there are a few competitors, Dvorak maybe, but in the end it's Schubert. And this tune is so beautiful. And I would work so hard to make a gorgeous sound in pianissimo. And then when it comes piano, full and rich and I love the time you're taking in between the phrases. It's beautiful. And then you go on and notice that while you're playing, the violin and the cello are playing pianissimo. So he obviously didn't think, I would do this very delicately. Should we do one more and then we'll stop because we have a Ravel trio. But let's see, because there isn't anybody in this room who doesn't adore this theme. I know, I talk to all of them. No, you know, I believe everybody loves classical music, they just haven't found out about it. And if they found this theme, you know, in Ethiopia or Bahrain or Ireland or somewhere, and they found this theme, they say, oh, that's so beautiful. And if you played it as if you knew that everybody found it beautiful, you know, sometimes we go through life looking a little angry or a little disappointed or a little upset, and that conveys itself around us. So I would work on, you know, practice your scales and your Sevchik, but also practice being a joyful personality and watch the light shine around you. Watch it affect the people around you. And you'll see you're living in a different world and you'll say, oh, the world seems to have changed. No, you changed. That's all. It'll happen. It's inevitable. Money back guarantee. Okay, do it once again. Once again. 1, 2. I'm sorry, I didn't give you the upbeat enough time. Look, she's smiling. Repeat. A little warmer. none of this is personal, but I want to say something personal. Isabel, you've been in the orchestra, in the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra, 3 years, right? You are a permanent, constant, ongoing inspiration to everybody around you. And the way you live your life and the way you share yourself and interact with people around you is a huge gift. And you're doing it here now. Everybody in the room feels it. And I wish that more musicians went through that particular path instead of the one of worry and fear, because we make life miserable for our musicians and for our young musicians by forcing them into competitions and all that awful process of, look, competitions are great if you win, but they're terrible if you lose. Unless you realize it's just a game, everybody's playing a game. I remember my brother went to a soccer game and he came away from it with one of the other parents. He said, wasn't that a fantastic game? And the other father said, how can you say that? We lost. As if the game was about winning. No, the game is about the game. And you get that so profoundly, and it's a huge gift. It's as valuable as anything else you could give to the world. Your colleagues could learn from you in that regard. And not just these colleagues, I mean colleagues generally. And it's one, I wish we could create a school of good cheer, and then all study music in the good school of good cheer. And don't be ashamed of allowing your bodies to represent what the music is saying and telling the audience you're having a wonderful time. Because there's no more beautiful music in the world. And it's so touching and so sensitive and so loving. It's really, really beautiful. And you play beautifully. So I think you're great. And it's interesting that the tempi in both cases moved the opposite direction from where you were going. So the 4/4 slower and the andante a little faster, so that it feels really in two. You notice I was conducting in one. You noticed because you were looking up. I was conducting like this because the music wants to go in long phrases. I could imagine conducting it in half. And such a cheerful, joyful, tender thing to say in music. It's a great, great theme. Great theme. I had a very extraordinary experience once. You know the poem Robert Lowell? Do you know who that is? Robert Lowell, great American poet. I went to visit him because my wife Rosanda knew him, but I came late and I knocked on his door. We were in Castile, Maine, and he opened the door, and instead of saying hello or how are you or nice to meet you, he said, "The Trout is a rape scene." Amazing. I've never forgotten that. He never said hello. Wasn't necessary. Look, you wonderful people, you're playing beautifully and bringing great music to them. So thank you for coming. Beautiful.